the drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski dives onto the right side. Very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around Mills at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Vito Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will cook the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
The midway point of the season begins to turn into view in one of the most open championships seen in a while. From Elkhart Lake and the sunny road in America, we are now heading California bound because round 5 of the CTC Lotus 79 series on iRacing Live and the Global Sim Racing channel is coming to you from a very pretty Sonoma raceway. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, race fans, to the countdown to green and the proceedings of strong battles and even greater finishes. I am your lead for today, Mr. Hashtag Do You Mind himself and observer of sim racing, Jake Sperry, keeping a watchful eye on today's proceedings. Joining me is the macho man Randy Savage to my Hulk Hogan, being Sean Crackers Ambrose. I'm Jed Yarman, will be on camera duty for this evening, as the legendary Dougie of the Beard has provided said cameras. Sean, 2018 is here, and the time for talk has already ended. Sonoma is a challenging track filled with twisting turns and off-camber nightmares, so Sonoma, though, has the heritage to make any race a classic.
Oh, yeah! Yeah, buddy. Sonoma Raceway. Nestled in the Sonoma Mountains in the center of California's wine industry, opened in 1968. This facility endured a turbulent history under a variety of owners, as track names such as Sears Point and Infineon, until it was taken over by Speedway Motorsports in '96. Now, Sonoma is on the real-world schedule for both NASCAR and IndyCar, but we don't need to worry about them today. We're going to talk about iRacing. They have 4 different configurations of this track, a couple specific for IndyCar, but this afternoon we're racing on the full configuration with the full extended run into turn 11 hairpin over its 2.5 miles or 12 turns that rise and fall over a dusty landscape. But the best way to get an idea what this place is really like and the tough overtaking chances that are provided here, turn 7, Gilligan's Island, will be one of those prime overtaking places. We won't have to worry about the drag strip. So what we'll do is we'll hop on board the GSRC Lotus 79 for a trip around Sonoma.
All right, we've got Juha Noralampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around Sonoma. Turn 1 is a flat-out blast uphill leading directly into 2. Hug the left side and try your best not to let the crest pull you away from the apex. Getting the power down here is going to be a real test of who's got the best feel for the throttle. You don't have much time before you hit the back and forth of turn 3. The car compresses, and then once again the rise will make the car light. Seeing drivers spin there probably won't be uncommon. Heavy braking into 4 means sometimes sneak attacks are possible, but I wouldn't bank on it. Keep your foot in around the sweeper of 5, and then hold the car off to the right for the entry to the carousel. This difficult diving turn will require both patience and getting to the power as early as possible to get the most out of it. That's because it dumps you onto the backstretch, which in this layout will fork off to the left. Tuck it right up to the wall, and then the braking for 7 is where you can expect to see most of the drivers attempt an overtake. The hard part is nailing the double apex line around the squared off hairpin. That leads us into the S's, and in the Lotus it's mostly flat out with a big lift going through 8. Expect this to be a single file section of track, and unless someone makes a huge error, passes are unlikely. What's incredible is coming through the fearsome turn 10, you're still not lifting. If drivers can withstand the dirty air, they'll be rewarded with a chance to pass into the hairpin of 11. But there's absolutely zero runoff with it being a simple tire wall around the outside. Missing your brake marker can spell disaster. Square off this last corner exit, straighten out the kinks on your run to the line, and you've now finished a lap around Sonoma.
And there we see a lap around the pretty Sonoma circuit in the GSRC Lotus 79. But of course, round 5 of the championship here. The series details up on your screen. 4 drops for the drivers, 2 for the teams. And of course, that will be crucial come the end of the season. Mistakes are not going to be tolerated here today. Lap count, it's a 32-lap race, so we'll be heading around a fair bit here today, but there is open setup, no stopping for fuel, so you can change the car as much as you like. But remember, you've got to put enough in the vehicle to bring it home to the end. Nuno Moreira will know that more than anybody else. Points, though, for the Drivers' Championship will be on official iRacing points. The Teams' Championship works slightly differently, but there's by the by. So, on that note, the Drivers' Championship, and the championship looks like it will set up to be a beauty, as Nuno Moreira is fending off a double onslaught right now from Michel Vandenberg and Gernot Friche, who stand both within 100 points. And with Gernot the man in form, Sean, it looks like it's going to be a major challenge for Moreira today to hold on to things.
Boy, it sure is. And boy, we need to keep an eye on this qualifying, because really that's going to be key here today, Jake, is this qualifying. And Nuno Moreira right now provisionally on this pole with Frisch right behind him, separated by what, about 2/10.
But 2/10 is all it can be at times, and of course the 2 laps for qualification will be crucial. Worth talking about the Constructors' Championship as well, and that's going to mean that Ferrari have the commanding 24-point lead over Shadow, and it's worth noting that it's the McLaren team in 3rd overall. They only have 1 driver in that team in the form of what is Fabian Gerber. That must be a heck of a challenge for him, Sean. However, what also has to be said, QC Clapp right now is on course for back-to-back Constructors' crowns.
Yes, he is. And you know what? We'll have to continue to follow the progress of Moreira, of course, sitting there in 2nd. It really has come down to battle with him and the 2 others there. So we'll see. But QC Clapp is here today. And Jake, Juha Norlampi has joined us today, and he's going to be running this one.
Nice to see Juha Norlampi back. The preacher, Marco Mogren, will make his first charge to the line. 120.3. Good time from Mogren. Moves himself up into 7th position on the 4th row. Clear Hughes' lap times are all but done. Friche needs a time, though. Needs a 10th.5 to make it work. And he gets it. 119.7. The champion, the multiple-time champion, puts his stamp of authority on. Here comes Norlampi. Big wiggle out of Gilligan's Island as he makes his way to the line. And Norlampi gets there. He does himself a 120.1. That's good enough for 5th, Sean.
Impressive. Nice return.
But it has been a very nice return. QC Clapp then will be the driver who is on a lap. Marco Mogren will be the only other driver then to set one. So what can the Ferrari man do in the 14? Currently in 9th position, just 7/10 of a second off of pole. Really nice diamonding there of the corner at Gilligan's Island as he makes the run to the line. Let's see what QC Clapp can do as he crosses said line. He goes quicker, 120.3, but unfortunately, no positions. That's going to be really hurting him. Marco Mogren then looking to improve on 8th position right now. He knows that just 2/10 of a second found puts him up on the 2nd row. Mogren wants to put a cat amongst the pigeons, gets this drive to the line. Does he find anything more then at this stage of the event? It's not quicker though, fractionally slower from Marco Mogren. Good effort. No cigar.
Yeah, no cigar there. I thought he had it, but you know what? Honestly, looked like he ran it out a little wide there in Gilligan's Island. Not enough. That line didn't look tight enough.
No, it didn't. So that's going to mean that there will be a lot of soul searching for some drivers today at a circuit which can be very difficult to go and make some overtakes. But, you know, you have to look at one driver up at the top, and that is Gernot Friche doing what Gernot Friche has done so many times over the years. There's a reason why he is a 13-time CTC champion. He's a 9-time Teams champion. That's the sort of level you have to go. This is how the grid looks, because Gernot Friche, 119.7, pole position as things stands. Nuno Moreira then in 2nd position overall. The question is, will Hofer have another lap to work with as well? We'll keep an eye on this one, but I think he's too far away to finish the lap. Kaya Rucola then, 3rd position out on circuit with Matt Wood. Good qualifying from him. Some say he's the Mark Webber of this series in 4th. Juha Noralampi then in 5th position with the driver of Steve Bycroft. Great qualifying from him in 6th. Jerd Hoferer, you could say the heir apparent to Friche. Not as good from him there as he finishes up in 7th position overall. 8th will go to Marco Mogren, with 9th being QC Clapp. And Michel Vandenberg, championship contender, not a good qualifying, only 10th, Sean.
Jake, blistering track temperature today there at 42 degrees centigrade. Grip really going to be an issue here.
And well, you also have to look at the rest of the grid here, Sean. You've got the likes of Fabian Gerber, Joni Kajan in 11th and 12th, Claire Hughes in 13th, John Stevens 14th and 15th for Ove Trengerade. Nice to see him, the king of classics, shall we say. Michael Houghton, Kartik Pai back, so it's nice to see Kartik Pai getting in the vehicle, the positive sim racing driver. Cedric Kroschik makes 18 and 19 rounds out. Thorsten Kahl, I'll steal your job for this one. You can get mine back there, Sean, at the end. But anyway, 2 minutes to grid up, or you start from the dreaded place known as pit road. And this is the most unique start in the world when you get yourself towards 1 and 2, because it's a kink left up the hill into a right-hander. So in theory, you'd think that Nuno Moreira would have the early advantage, but it's off camber when you get to turn number 1. You've got to be really cautious about that turn 2. So that's going to mean that Nuno Moreira on the outside won't necessarily have, well, on the inside, sorry, won't necessarily have that advantage in comparison to Friche, who can really diamond off turn 1, try and negate the run of Moreira and keep things going. And how many times have we seen Nuno Moreira versus Jono Friche be one of the biggest battles that we've seen? Watch out for Michel Vandenberg then. He's got to make all the running from 10th position, and at a circuit where overtaking sometimes can be a premium, you've got to be right on top of your game. And also keep an eye out on those looking to make the goes. Here's the engine notes. Let's rise. 32 laps then at Sonoma is underway. And it's a slow getaway from Friche. Good effort there from Ruocola, but he bogged down on the second phase of acceleration. No chance to make the run then in towards turn 2 as they file in 2 wide. Single file in certain places as well. Looking very, very nice except for 2. Marco Mogren is one vehicle that's gone off very early on. The other driver I think we have found is going to be someone else we'll find later on. So Marco Mogren involved in an early incident there, Sean.
Noralampi got away great. Picks up 1 spot there on the start. They've gone line astern throughout the field. Mogren there at the back had to take it in the pit.
Oh, and I think it was QC Clapp, I believe, that was brought into that battle as well. So maybe QC Clapp not getting the result that he wants. Vandenberg gets away fine, but as things stand, it's Friche from Moreira, Ruocola, Noralampi, Matt Wood there in 5th. Jerd Hoferer looking to gain in 6th position as they head into the S's section for the very first time. And this is just a great bit of circuit for driving purposes, just lefts and rights. You're always trying to battle with the grip that the vehicle has. And this is what they're going to be dealing with today, Sean. A lot of grip difficulty. Understeer is the key of the day.
Yes, sir. It's going to be. And boy, they come around here. This last hairpin. You like to call it the island, Jake.
Not only that, Gilligan's Island, John Stevens dives down onto the lane, so he will probably be caught for jumping the start or something of that effect. If not, there's going to be damage to deal with. And, well, just looking at his vehicle, it's all fine, so it would have to be a jump start then for John Stevens if he is to be down on the lane. But 1 lap of 32 then, scored complete in the books. And these off-camber corners, always very difficult. Moreira now looking to be the aggressor here with Friche just behind. But Friche knows if he just keeps that vehicle straight, there won't be many opportunities today.
Yeah, the opportunities are going to be slim, Jake. This is really a tough course to pass on to begin with. Add in the 107-degree track temperature, and it could get impossible. Just looking back through the field, checking up on a couple people. Ove Trengrade, a decent start for him, and it's already got him up 3 spots there to 12th. Chasing Leonard Hughes right now, and Joni Kajanen back there in 10th.
Yeah, Joni Kajanen is +2, so he's made some good progress. He's capitalised on the likes of Mogren and Clapp running into issues in the early stages. John Stevens as well, another driver who has struggled in the early goings. But now Kaya Ruocola wants to get in on the action at the front of the field here in the number 2 machine. And Ruocola is always there or thereabouts when it comes to a championship. Doesn't always race this broadcasted race, but in terms of points, Caio Rucola is one of the most consistent drivers in this series to score and put himself up in a championship picture.
Boy, Morera was all over the gearbox. Journo there coming up the hill. Back down the hill they go.
Yeah, a little twitch there as he came down the hill. So Nuno Morera knows what is meaning this one. His vehicle is very, very light. That shadow needs to work at about being more about sonic speed, I think you have to say, in some areas. Eyster Vandenberg, though, in the 6 machine. He's looking at Fabian Gerber in the McLaren, looking to make that one Ferrari against McLaren to make that an easy move. And how many times in racing do you see Ferrari versus McLaren as you see Gerber just about holding it? Vandenberg's got pace today.
He does. He seems to be right on him here. A little bit of slip there out of the turn, but the pace looks great. And Gerber right now looks like he could be a sitting duck. We'll see. Things, we still have a long way to go here. And this track, as slippery as it's going to be today and as dusty as it gets, mistakes are sure to happen.
Well, it's going to be about limiting mistakes then today as Jed Hofer gets himself diamonding the corner a little bit. Now has Steve Bycroft behind, and this is the issue that is with Steve Bycroft. Normally a driver who likes to sit, likes to wait for opportunity, and right in the middle of that pack, you feel that Steve Bycroft has to be the aggressor today when overtaking is going to be so difficult to manage.
QC Clapp apparently had a little bit too much damage from that incident on the opening lap there. Jake, he's in the pit. Coming down the pit lane now.
And that could be a race over for QC Clapp if he's not too careful, and that will cost points in the constructors for the leading Ferraris, especially with Vandenberg down the order. But the advantage is, whilst we do see 2 Ferraris in this field, it's very rare in these splits to see top split the second driver in this top split, and that's the advantage that comes into play for teams like Ferrari who have 2 in the top.
And the front 4 have gotten a little bit of a break on Matt Wood. Matt sitting there in no man's land right now, being followed closely by Hofer. He's about a second behind him.
Well, it is worth noting how Matt Wood has always been a very good qualifier, Sean, but when it comes to the race pace, that's always been the area of Matt's game, which he needs to keep on working on. He needs to keep going, because we know how quick Matt Wood can be over a single lap. He's one of the quickest in the world when it comes to this vehicle. When it comes to getting into a race situation, though, he just can't seem to get it all sorted and bundled together, as Rucola again close to Morera here, attacking and defending at exactly the same time, and Nora Lampe's waiting in the wings.
QC Clapp back out on track, Jake, trying to salvage whatever points he can for the team.
Well, he has to. There's no other alternative as he now puts himself, I would believe at this stage, 1 lap down. So he will have a lot of work to do as Cedric Krolczyk becomes a man now looking to play on defensive strategy here in the 16 machine. He's got Kartik Pai just behind him. Kartik Pai, one of those drivers who can turn up, and some have even bandied about the phrasing of alien status for the positive sim racing driver normally, but Kartik Pai, more familiar to drivers, I would think, in terms of a Skip Barber, looking to really make it happen today in a Lotus.
Yeah, he's picked up a few spots here early, but Krolczyk proving to be a little difficult to get past here. Krolczyk's got good pace right now.
Yeah,
their lap times are practically identical last time by.
Yeah, 122.498, 122.457, and there's an ooh, as things get a little bit twitchy, Sean.
Yeah, Krolczyk runs it out a little bit wide. Really easy to do right there. Carrying a lot of speed out of turn 10.
Well, that's always going to be the difficult factor as Krolczyk now gets more defensive then in comparison to Kartik Pai, as Pai into the off-camber turn number 2. Doesn't quite get the run off the exit that he would have wanted. So it's again another day of waiting, a day of opportunity comes into play as Rucola now starts to drop slightly off the back here of Nuno Morera and into the likes of Nora Lampe. And that's that long sweeper coming into play down the hill, waiting to put the power down onto a slippery surface, which is not too much used drag strip. It's always very difficult when you have a drag strip incorporated into a circuit, Sean.
Yeah, agreed, Jake. There are a lot of factors that lead to this track being a slick one, and the sand blowing all over the place all the time. The temperatures out here in Sonoma generally pretty high, but these guys seem to be managing it so far. We've only seen that one off. I did see the death of a cone, unfortunately.
I think we're seeing many deaths of the pit road cone. Whoever that man is who keeps getting employed to put that back, I would give him a medal and a chest to pin it on, Sean.
Maybe they hired one of the ball boys from Wimbledon, got him out here, flown him over.
I think it would be more appropriate to get a guy from Flushing Meadows, but, you know, either way, that seems to be working for the drivers, and it works for the cone man, who gets himself going out. Fabian Gerber, though, a man under pressure, as Michel Vandenberg still needs to find a way to start making positions. He's only got one slightly wider line there from Fabian as they now head into this infield section, you could argue, as they now head for this long, sweeping, downhill left-hander, which is so difficult, even on the best of days. And Vandenberg needs to pick up the run off the exit. He does very well, but there's not much of a run when you get onto the brakes here, into this double apex right-hand hairpin. He gets close on the brakes, but again, no opportunity to really open out that corner and make something happen.
I'll tell you what, is Hofer going to be able to hold off Bycroft here? I mean, he's got a second on him right now, but Bycroft coming along a little bit at a time here.
A little bit. It was a 21.7 last time from Bycroft, a slightly slower 21.7 from Gerd Hofer, so Hofer has got to be a little bit careful as the top 16 still stay within 16 seconds of each other after 7 laps worth of racing, which is pretty good by these standards. So 21.5 that time from Hofer. He does respond. 22 flat, though, from Steve Bycroft. So Bycroft drops half a second on that last lap and almost falls outside of the 1 second range overall. So Bycroft trying to hang on to things, but starting to maybe struggle here at the end of the first sort of quarter of this event. Needs to pick up that pace, pick up that consistency. The fuel will come back and make that car lighter and quicker. But crucially, though, Sean, it will make it a lot more difficult to handle.
Yes, it will. And difficult to handle right now for Fabian Gerber. A lot of pressure in his mirror for Michel Vandenberg just behind Bycroft and Hofer there. These two got a little bit closer battle going on right now. Vandenberg seems to be quicker into the turns than Gerber. I don't know if this is defensive from Gerber or just being careful, but hey, when they get to a turn, you'll see Vandenberg breaking a lot later than Gerber, trying to find any way he can to get around.
Exactly. He needs to for the championship, which he's dropping vital points in and may have to even use this as a drop week if he is so far back. But I think one of the crucial points talking about this vehicle was the fuel, or is the fuel that you put into this, because when you put this vehicle full of fuel, it's almost sometimes, some would say, like trying to drive a cruise ship. When you get it right down to really light fuel, it's almost as if you've got one of those speedboats that you've got to try and get around. It's very different dynamics driving from one to the other and actually working out how the vehicle feels on a lap-to-lap basis, which is what makes this vehicle so difficult to drive.
Yeah, and heightens the importance of getting those practice runs in, and not just 3 or 4 laps at a time, but working a full stint and, a full race distance. Very important prepping for these races.
Exactly. So these drivers, the front 4, they all know each other very well. Friche, Moreira, Ruicola, and Nora Lampe. Arguably, you could call them the famous four, and there's an all.
Oh, there was. Gerber almost gets passed by Vandenberg there. Boy, these two still going at it hard here. Just with still, 23 laps to go?
Yeah, exactly. There was a look from Vandenberg. It was a wider track by Fabian Gerber through the long left-hander, but he managed to pick up that run very well. But Gerber slow coming out of the S's section, down to the inside on the right-hander, tries Michel Vandenberg, inside line for Gilligan's Island, but backs out of the move there. So I'm wondering just how wise of a decision that was from the driver of Hofer when he knew, or not even Hofer, of Vandenberg, when he knew he needed to make that move and hasn't been able to get that one sorted. You can see how much time he's lost to Bycroft.
I'm looking through the whole field right. It's amazing how much time some of these guys have lost already here, just 10 laps into the race. This field has really spread out
It has, but you also have to say that there are a lot of small packs here, especially behind Cedric Krolczyk as Kartik Pai, and now Michael Houghton wants to get into play. So Michael Houghton wants to get into this battle and try and get himself through the number 13 machine, Club Texas. So we'll see what, I should probably say Houghton will have to try and make that move. So he's looking, but trying isn't the only thing I can see at the moment.
All right, Jake, he's from Texas. And in Texas, we say Houghton.
Houghton? Oh, okay. I need to learn my Texas, so we'll get this right eventually. So Houghton needs to start thinking about this one. Kartik Pai, Cedric Krolczyk just in front. So that battle we will keep just an eye on, because there's a big slide coming out of Gilligan's Island for the driver of Kaya Ruokola. So Ruokola really trying to be aggressive. This could open the door then for Nora Lampe, who gets tucked right underneath, looking for the inside, and the door was shut. Contact once, twice, and Nora Lampe pushed to pass. Well, here's aerial coverage, Sean, of this one, and well, that was going to be one of those incidents which we thought it would happen, and it just did.
Yeah, it did, indeed. You know, amazing, though, Nora Lampe just picks up a very, very minor bit of damage on that wing. And it does seem like now that he's gotten by, Kaya starting to lose pace just a little bit.
Well, Kaya Ruokola himself has damage on the rear wing and the front, so both drivers struggling in battle for the lead, though. We'll keep an eye on this one. Moreira had a half chance coming off for the exit of the turn 7 hairpin as they head into the S's, so now Moreira's got the baggage off the back. He now thinks, you know what, it's time to get aggressive on lap 11 against the 13-time champion of Gernot Friche, against the reigning champion of Nuno Moreira. So now Moreira senses an opportunity. I think this is good play. He knows he can't make it by just sitting and waiting against Friche. He's got to go out there and make a mistake.
Boy, good luck trying to get Gernot to make a mistake. We've only seen it happen a couple times. You know what, though? That little battle between Juha and Kaya Ruokola, it really helped out Matt Wood. Matt is now part of that mix. No longer out there by himself.
And not only that, he's the only driver in that train of 3 with a clean car. So Matt Wood could pick up positions if he's very, very brave, as he just tracks a little bit wide heading out of 4. So that's going to be a little worry for him as he now heads himself then through these next sections of corner. So Matt Wood having to be careful then, but can't be too greedy at this stage here, Sean. He still knows he's got to finish this race, so he's got to just keep that in his mind.
Yeah, just keep working. Stay focused. Very, very important here.
It looks like we've also missed a spin for Michael Houghton, because he has dropped back a fair way, I think, from the train that he was on. I think that was a lap ago or so. So no need to go back to it, no need to see it. And that was actually down at turn number 1, or turn number 2 even, shall I say there, as Houghton just tried to get on the power. Off-camber nature of that circuit means turn 1 and turn 2, it's always going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, got caught right there in the middle of the turns there, and it just turned around on him.
Well, sometimes it happens. Sometimes that's the way it ends up being. But what it has to be now at this stage is a realization. Lap 13 then, out of 32 on circuit. So we are heading towards 1/3 distance in a lap's time. And for this opening third, it's been about consistency, and drivers who have struggled with consistency need to now understand where they place that vehicle. Drivers like Matt Wood need to work out where they need to be. Gerd Hofero needs to work out how he gets back onto this train. And Nuno Moreira especially needs to work out, how on earth do I get past Gernot Friche? Worth noting though, Gerd Hofero was the fastest man last lap.
Yes, he was a 1:21.5, and man, that's a great lap still here as the tires start to go away a little bit on this track. Still turning down some good laps, and again, that's more a sign probably of just that fuel burning off like you were talking about earlier, Jake.
Exactly, and it's worth talking about the tyre degradation, because with the track being so hot, it's just going to eat the rubber up, and well, I think I may even be seeing the tyre barriers at Gilligan's Island starting to melt.
Well, Journo Frisch and Nuno Moreira, if there was ever a championship battle, this is one to watch. Those two still going at it. Frisch a little bit, got a little bit of an advantage right now, but Nuno keeps breaking a little bit deeper, just like we saw earlier, trying to find an opportunity, but he's content to sit where he's at for now.
And as far as the fastest lap goes today, that one firmly in the hands of a certain Nuno Moreira, 1:21 flat, the quickest time we have seen overall. Fabian Gerber, though, still under pressure here, now in a battle for an 8th and 9th position out on circuit. So now Fabian Gerber knows that he's got to be really careful, because Gerber's actually backing up Vandenberg at this stage into Kajanen and into Clear Hughes, the Welshman, as well. So that's only going to spell disaster for Vandenberg. If more people get on the train, more people start battling.
I love a full train, by the way. Nothing more exciting than that.
You may do, but I don't think Vandenberg. So you can like it all you want, and I can like it all I want. I don't think the drivers quite like to see a train battle. So you're going to be on the side of Gerber. I'm going to be on the side then of what is going to be Michel Vandenberg. Moreira, though, still close, though, to Journo Frisch. Still trying. 21-1 against 21-3. It's back and forth in 0.2 of a second either way. The dirty air effect really playing havoc here today. Drivers trying to be close enough to make a move.
Thought Krolchik, I think Krolchik's having a connection issue back there, Jake. I see him, he continues to blink on and off in my scoring and timing.
Well, hopefully he can sort that out and keep himself going. Kartik Pai will not be pleased with that behind the vehicle as he just tracks a little bit wide there through turn number 2. Does Kartik Pai as they head into 3A and 3B out on circuit. Left then, right off camber, get on that power. Down into 4 you go, and well, not going to be running the stock car course, which some can argue is arguably has better opportunity, but you look at that battle, it's close, but it's not quite a Carling.
Love this onboard shot here. The chase is on.
Chase is indeed on, and Gerber tracks a little bit wide again through the S's. That will allow the driver of Vandenberg right to close up here as they make the run to Gilligan's Island, the final corner, out on circuit on the brakes, and just not able to have a better braking opportunity. So Vandenberg needs to find something, because it's just not working out the way that he hopes it. But defensive lines taken from Journo Frisch at the top of the field, because now Nuno Moreira is tucked underneath that gearbox and he does not want to let go.
He's teasing him, Jake. Fabian keeps just teasing him.
He does, but it is costing time. It was a 22-2 that last time by, so all that time being given back. But again, to Nuno Moreira, has a little look down to the inside, doesn't think about making a decisive dive to try and make that move, and he was very much better on the power in the second part, couldn't slip a nose down the inside of Frisch. So Frisch now starting to get those lines a little bit crossed up a little bit as he takes wider and wider entries into the corners. So careful, boys. Don't want to throw this one away, especially with the fact that we've seen next to no overtakes today.
Boy, there just really haven't been many. I can count them all on one hand right now. He's gonna have to be careful. Don't want to throw it all away. For the sake of one spot. Man, tough call.
It is, and well, Journo Frisch knows that he wants to take points away from Moreira. Moreira knows that he can stay second position if he wants, but that would just give Journo more points at the party, especially with the drop weeks coming into play. His second place result may not even count come the end of the season due to the fact that the differences in SOF and iRacing points could just mean that this split doesn't score enough. Again, into the left-hander they come along. Moreira not able to make this move. Has to sit, has to wait behind as he is unable to really attack. Clear Hughes now on the back of Joni Kajanen. So Kajanen now will become a man under pressure. 22-1, 22-2 that time though from Clear Hughes. He wasn't able to close the rate that he did on the lap previous.
Yeah, a little surprised we're not seeing more out of Lear today. He's seems to just, I don't know. This is a tough track to dial in, Jake. I know you're a fan. I'm a bit of a fan, but this is one of the more challenging ones for me.
It's a very challenging circuit and very technical as, again, Geno Frichet running wide through Gilligan's Island. Gets the drive, though, off of the exit, and that means Moreira's got no chance of making that move as they head up the hill. We are over halfway, then, in this event. Lap 17 of 32. We are heading ourselves through onto lap 18. So now this second half is about holding your nerve, making the one decisive move that you may just have to, as Fabian Gerber still a man under pressure.
Big mistake by Cedric Krolczyk heading down into Gilligan's Island. Cathark Pie getting right up next to him there. It's almost side by side. No, Krolczyk going to get away. Wow,
now
almost a chance.
He's looking for the up and under. There was the opportunity, and it has completely fallen away. And behind that is QC Clapp, who may want to unlap himself from this battle, but he knows that it would have to take a lot of cooperation to make that happen. The difference in times, though, almost substantial right now. 24-second lap times, or 124s from Krolczyk and Pye, 23.4 from QC Clapp, who's been running the 22.2 pace, which has not been run right now by Pye and Krolczyk out on circuit. So they will have to be very careful as the gap starts to slowly extend again for Geno Frichet. It starts to just bend a little bit in favour, and up we're looking here is maybe vehicles starting to struggle a little bit, running wide as though, yes indeed, whoa. Well, Kartik Pye there, a big moment down at turn 7, loses an opportunity, gets huge on the power, saves it, but he's taking a trip across that dirt there, Sean, and that's just going to sully the tyres up.
Yeah, that's going to take a little bit to recover from. It's going to have him off pace here for at least until he gets to about Gilligan's Island, probably. But good job of saving the car. A lot of runoff area here.
Yeah, that was a very good job of saving the vehicle. And
yeah, Gerber almost gave it up to Vandenberg there. Vandenberg almost up under the wing.
Well, he's trying. Bless his cotton socks, he's trying, but it's not quite working out the way that Michel Vandenberg hoped to see this race happen today. So again, looking for the brakes at turn 7, one of the overtaking opportunities, this long double apex right. You look to try and just tuck it down on the inside. It doesn't happen again. Sacrifices the exit, and now I can firmly say Kaisen and Hughes are on the train. Well, Sean, looking further back as well, further forward, shall I say, Matt Wood now starting to come into trouble. Gerd Hofer and Steve Bycroft are coming back into this battle between them. And Matt Wood has not really made that push, has not really been able to capitalise on Nora Lampe and Ruokola. Yeah,
you know, he was pushing earlier, and things seem to have kind of slowed down a bit for him. A little bit tougher. He's struggling with the car right now, and that has put a situation in his mirror where he's got Hofer and Bycroft. Nice battle going on between those two, and they have almost caught him, just about a second back.
Well, I'll say something. Juha Nora Lampe just set the fastest lap of the event, a 1:20.718. He wants to be back on the Moreira train, and he's only 1.1 back at this stage. So Nora Lampe suddenly is back in this race.
The preacher putting the work in here.
Well, he has to. He's one of a few drivers today who are up positions, +2 overall. Wasn't the best of moves earlier on Ruokola, but it will still be a good opportunity for him to now start getting aggressive, trying to place himself in a situation where he knows that he can race, and race very hard.
Well, I don't know. Ruokola might think that that move was questionable, but it did only cost him the one spot. He didn't wreck him. And Ruokola got to be at least satisfied with the fact that he's still on track.
Exactly, he has to be satisfied with that, as again, 21.1 from Frichet, 1:21 flat from Moreira, 21.1 Nora Lampe, 21.1, 21.4 from Matt Wood, though, in 5th position. So you can see the differences in times coming in, as again, Michel Vandenberg tucks in underneath. And I wonder if he should back off for a little bit. Give himself about 5-6 of a second. Cool down that engine. Cool down the tyres. Have a fresh attempt to go and make that move. Looks to the inside at 4. That was a bold move. You don't normally make them at 4. He tried it, but Michel Vandenberg, he's now looking for unconventional ways to make the move to surprise Gerber.
Tell you what, one of the better battles for 8th place we've seen in a while, Jake.
Oh, yes, it has been. And while Michel Vandenberg knows that he can sit and wait all day long, time will pass him by, but he's not got unlimited time to make this move. And again, he will have to sit and wait and suck up anything that comes along towards him. But again, looking at Moreira, suddenly he's dropping off from Fritsche here. He's just dropped back. Maybe another half a second here on this lap as Nuno Moreira's lap time comes in. 21.2, not brilliant. 20.8 this time from Jono Fritsche. He sets his fastest lap then of the day and does a really good job of things. But in terms of response, that was a horror lap from Nora Lampia. 21.6 at this stage. That puts them very far back.
Well, it does, but, Nuno's got to be careful here because a mistake or a little bit loss of pace, and Nora Lampia's going to be right there, all over him.
Exactly. He needs to make sure that he is within that 1 second. He needs to be right up underneath, pressuring the Austrian, one of the greatest drivers when it comes to this series, and make sure that he is right up there and causing a real challenge as that wide line again being taken by all the drivers now. And that's something we're seeing here. The longer this race goes on, you're seeing drivers starting to take different lines, trying to save different areas as Gerber again under pressure. Vandenberg close on the run in towards 7. And they just seem to have the same braking marker. It's all about downforce here at this circuit. There's no real change in the setup for many people.
Boy, I love these camera angles we're able to bring to you here today. Very, there's a lot of dirt, yet it's still a rather scenic track, Jake. A lot going on here around the walls and the stands here at Sonoma.
Well, I think it'll be one of the easier tracks to make into a rallycross circuit, wouldn't you think, Kirschel?
Definitely plenty of dirt to get it done with, that's for sure.
Oh, yes, that will be in excess. Just scrape a bit out from the middle, and you could probably dump it on the circuit. It will be fine, but right now, Moreira closes that gap down a little bit more, does his fastest lap of the day with a 1:20.748. It's marginally slower than Nora Lampi on a 7:18, his fastest lap. So Moreira searching to go purple, but it's just not quite happened for him just yet. Moreira knows, though, that's the sort of level he's got to be pushing Fritsche. He knows he's got to go purple. He knows he's got to start worrying him. The great warrior himself needs to be worried.
Back to Nora Lampi, man.
Here comes Vandenberg.
Oh, yeah, that paddle continues.
He had a look, but he just didn't have enough conviction to send the nose down the inside. I think at this stage, Vandenberg, by hook or by crook, has to make this move. He can't think about niceties anymore. He has got to be ruthless and go, I'm coming down the inside. If you're going to get out of the way, we're not going to crash.
Yeah, best case scenario, right?
Yeah. It's going to have to be, because we've seen 5, 6, 7 different attempts from Vandenberg where he's been polite. He's seen that he's got half a nose maybe looking to the inside. It's not worked out for him. We're seeing now it's starting to fall away a little bit from Vandenberg. And with only, 9 laps to go, he's got to be really aggressive now and really try and get this position. It's
time to get busy. Indeed. I agree with you, Jake. Something's got to happen.
Tell you someone who needs to get busy is Steve Bycroft, because he is now within 0.4 of a second of the man known as Gerd Hoferer. So he has that opportunity to try and take position number 6 away. Hoferer took it at the start, and well, he hasn't wanted to give it back ever since, almost like a sibling stealing your makeup or something like that. So that's going to be the big difference maker here today. Bycroft's got to make that move, and patience is not a virtue here today.
It's funny, I've never had any of my siblings steal my makeup, Jake. I have 6 of those, and they never stole my makeup.
Well, at least you admit to having makeup.
Hey, I used a bit of guy liner back in the day.
Wow. That's bold. But anyway, Morera is flirting with 1 second now. Gernot Friche, his consistency has worked, but he missed the apex there at 1, or at 2, sorry. Gathered it up very nicely on the run to 3A and 3B. So Gernot Friche, you can see how much he's now starting to try and dial it up to 11, because he's now starting to get the vehicle throwing shapes.
Oh, Ricola off course.
Oh dear.
All the way off course there in turn 4.
3B, shall we say there. The corner names are always funny. You just got over the curb there, Sean. It's so easy to do at that section. These curbs are high in the opening parts, and the moment you just get caught up over one, you lose that grip, you can easily be spat right out of the way.
Yeah, and I think what you're going to see is going to hit a little bit too much of that curb on the inside there. Yeah, and it upsets the car, gets him off into the dirt. Loses a lot of ground to Juha. Juha not 2 seconds to the good.
And well, Juha will be very happy about being 2 seconds to the good. Someone who's not seconds to the good has been Nuno Morera, and I just want to have a look on this lap to see if he's had any unconventional moments, and I think there may have been one for Morera into the left-hander. He just got all shades of deep in, and he just washed out there at turn number 6, I believe it is. And that was enough for Nuno Morera to drop, arguably, I'd say, 0.6 of a second to 21.4 just by washing up, as Gernot Friche sets his fastest lap of the day.
Preacher is lurking.
Oh, yes. No questions about it. Morera knows if he starts making mistakes, 1.6 seconds down the road is Nora Lampe to capitalise and to take it away. But for Gernot Friche to just... That's just a champion's motive, I think, that we just saw from him there. Saw the mistake from Morera, then set his fastest lap of the day. That's called taking advantage of a mistake and going to church with it.
Jake, is this battle between Gerber and Vandenberg ever going to get sorted out?
Well, yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Well, it will sort itself out on the last lap at latest.
You think so?
Well, the race will end. So it would have to sort itself out, but Michel Vandenberg right now, he knows that he's got to make this move. But again, Fabian Gerber has been perfect all day long. No mistakes, and this is what the CTC has. Drivers who don't make mistakes very often. You pick and choose your moments, and this is what you get when you have a series with so much competition, as look how deep on the brakes goes Michel Vandenberg. He's now thinking of scare tactics.
You know, I don't even know if we ever mentioned it. This race split today. So this is the top split with an SOF of 43.93. That's pretty hefty company.
It is, and 43.53. You don't find too many 43.53 races out there. I've seen the highest SOF ever of 6,500, but you know, 43.53, you don't shake a stick at 43.53. Is still Gerber a man under pressure as they head into the infield for the 27th time. 5 to go when they cross the line, and Vandenberg now, this is where we start quoting James Allen. Desperation starts to kick in right now. And well, if you are going to try and continue the quote, someone may have to ask where Timo Glock is.
You know, just behind them, though, it's still a great battle between Kaizen and Hilliard Hughes. You know what? Kaizen clinging to this 10th spot, as far as I'm concerned, has not been as smooth as we're used to seeing from Kaizen. And Lear is having a pretty decent run himself. Nothing is done with this battle. 5 to go when they get to the line.
Nothing is done. The leaders are now with 5 to go. And, well, Joni Kaishinen knows he's just got to keep the vehicle consistent and he can bring it home without any real worries or issues. So that's the only point of contention then. As far as the race battle for the lead goes, it is on Gernot Friche. It is on Nuno Morera to close that down, but it is not working. So we also see the driver of John Stevens now on the chase with Michael Houghton. And Houghton is making a lot of mistakes in this late stage. And well, he was right there with Krolschick and Pye. Suddenly dropped back, lost the position to Thorsten Kahl. Suddenly dropping back, almost losing a position at this stage to John Stevens.
Not a little bit of wing damage there for Houghton. He did get off course into some dirt, might have clipped the curb a little bit. It's got his pace off. Stevens looking to make this pass. Bad place to try up the hill there.
Yeah, it's difficult. You have to be alongside if you want to make it up the hill, and even then there is going to be no guarantees up through the lefts and rights. No opportunity to make a move just yet as well. Still, we look at Michiel Vandenberg. Still, he is close as he heads his way now towards Gilligan's Island down at the hairpin. And, well, he was looking for it. Not going to be close enough. A lot later on the brakes there was Fabian Gerber. And that's the most demoralizing point for a driver, is that you're on this race, you're driving, you're right behind a driver, and he outbrakes you. How are you supposed to make a move then?
Yeah, and of course, you know, being right there in his wake, that's going to make, you know, the downforce not quite as good there for Vandenberg, and that's probably been the bigger issue, is that he's not been able to complete an overtake with just losing the front wheels on that thing when he gets so close.
Well, they've pulled away from Kajanen and Hughes, and Kajanen now in defensive mode, but Vandenberg again having a little look when it comes down to the left-hander, takes a slightly different line. It may not be the quickest, but he bundles it up quite nicely as he looks to get this run then towards the inside when it comes to the next right-hander of turn 7. He thinks about making the move. He goes very deep on the brakes, and, well, just wasn't able to just trail brake it in, carry the extra, say, 5 kilometers an hour to get himself back into play there, Sean. He's looking and he's soul searching.
We've got to go back to Cedric Krolczyk and Pi. These two still going at it. They've been going at it for a while. Pi looking for an opportunity here in the closing laps. Again, sends it a little bit deeper.
Well, if Kartik Pai can make this move, I'll take my pie and I'll certainly eat it. So it looks like Kartik Pai knows that he's got to be in a situation to start thinking about it. He's got to be within, I'd say, 2.5 tenths of a second, if not 2 tenths of a second, when he gets to here to make the move. And that's almost impossible at this circuit. Still, we've got Stevens versus Houghton, and Houghton still driving very well in this machine, almost pulling away at this stage.
Boy, the battles up front seem to have kind of disappeared, but, you know, we're here mid-pack, buddy. That's really where all the action's at right now.
Yeah, it's been all about Gerber and Vandenberg, Kajanen and Hughes. So Hughes a little bit too far back at this stage to make the move on the driver of Joni Kajanen. So Vandenberg again looking for something, and again will be hurting because this whole race he has been losing points in the championship, being unable to get past a resilient Fabian Gerber. And that's just been the point. I can't get past. I wish I had a fuel stop to make a strategy play or something like that. Deep in on the brakes again, unable to do something. 2 laps to go. You need a miracle or something here if your name is Michiel Enzen Vandenberg.
Or you're going to need to maybe, I don't know, conjure the spirit of Ayrton Senna and just make that spot open up for you.
Did he ever race at Sonoma?
I don't believe he did.
Well, it'll be very difficult for Ayrton Senna to try and make something happen if he's never raced here before, but he's got to do something, and, well, he's close, looking for that opportunity, probably the closest he's been for a little while as he tracks to the outside and trying to send one to the inside here, trying to force Gerber to run a little bit wide here at the long, sweeping left-hander. Again, not quite close enough as he makes this run towards turn 7. It's just, I don't think, going to be close enough just yet. On the brakes into the right-hander. No, it is not. So he's got 2 final opportunities, shall we say. He's got this one at Gilligan's Island. Now he's got to do it on the last lap. But starting the white flag lap is the 13-time champion Gernot Fritsch, the man who has been unconquerable in recent years. But this season, after 2017 being what some would say disappointing in the second half, dropping a couple of championships here and there, he's back to try and wrestle his crown away from the man behind him, who he has totally outclassed at every given stage as he went purple, and also Moreira went purple But of course, Journo Friche was a slightly quicker man. We'll keep an eye on Vandenberg versus Gerber. We'll keep an eye on Hughes versus Kajanen. We will also look to keep an eye as Kartik Pai is through on the driver of Cedric Krolschick, and he's done that brilliantly around the outside at turn 7. I've never seen anybody get it around the outside, but that was a defensive line from Krolschick into the corner. Broke far too early for it, and then Kartik Pai just took his pie. Oh, well, looks like I'm going to have some pie for dinner, as Krolschick thought about turn 1. It didn't quite happen, but to the driver of Journo Friche, who drives himself around Gilligan's Island. And now with just a small kick left to go, Journo Friche wins it at the circuit of Sonoma. Unfalteringly is the word that you need. Journo Friche wins. Moreira second, Nora Lampi and Rui Okola third and fourth. But Fabian Gerber, I think, is about to hold on, Sean.
I think so, Jay. I think so. It's been a long fight. A lot of action in his mirror for pretty much all 32 laps. I think it's going to end here with a nice 8th place finish, and he is going to get it. And Vandenberg, for all his effort, going to just wind up with 9th. Yoni Kajanen going to take that 10th spot. Leard Hughes not able to make a move.
Not able to make it happen, but Krolschick trying everything to stay in touch with Kartik Pai at the last stages. It's so easy just to run wide out of Gilligan's Island, be too aggressive, just tap the wall on the exit, but it's a street circuit feel at Gilligan's Island because you know that you can't touch the wall, so you give it just a little bit more space. Kartik Pai will hold on against Krolschick, but the battle, Stevens and Houghton, I think Houghton's going to hold it as it's deep on the brakes from the driver of John Stevens, but it's going to end up even Stevens between the two as Houghton is going to hold on.
I saw what you did there.
I think you did as well. But that's everybody across the line then. So what we're going to do is step aside for just one moment on the Global Sim Racing channel. When we come back, we're going to wrap everything up. We're going to close up the shop, but we're also going to have post-race interviews. Don't go away. back, ladies and gentlemen, to the CTC Lotus 79 series. The racing has just concluded. A great battle that we've had up and down the field. Maybe a little bit deprived of overtaking, but the final results here are as follows. No surprises, Gernot Friche goes back-to-back for 2 consecutive weeks and is really applying the pressure on the man in second, the reigning champion, Nuno Moreira, with Juha Noralampi back in third. Kairi Rucola finishes fourth, with Matt Wood dropping a position in the end to fifth, with Gerd Hofer a sixth and Steve Bycroft in seventh. Fabian Gerber held off a strong challenge today from Michael Vandenberg, who arguably loses a lot of ground in the championship in ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is Joni Kaishinen.
And we'll go to 11th. It's Leah Hughes with a big run today, and not enough to pass Kaishinen, though. Ove Trengrade, 12th. Karthik Pai, 13th, up four spots. Cedric Grolczyk, also up 4 spots, finishes 14th. 15th, going to go to Thorsten Kahl. Michael Houghton, that's Houghton, 16th. And 17th, John Stevens. QC Clapp in 18th today, and Marco Mogren at first lap incident ended it for him.
You talk about my pronunciation, I'll talk about the fact that you've actually done that. So we'll go half for half on this one. But of course, what we do say is post-race interview time. And well, there is one driver above and beyond who has done so well today, Gernot Friche. A difficult race today in terms of not wanting to make mistakes, but no mistakes you did make.
Yeah, definitely, Jake. Yeah, it was a tough race because I had to push a lot. Nuno was really quick, and the race before, Nuno was pushing me into mistakes, so he passed me. Tried to avoid that in that one because it was an important race.
Well, qualifying we thought was always going to be the key factor today, and it turned out to be the case with a 1:19.7. Do you feel that the field today really put that challenge to you, knowing that you had, for large majorities of the race, a train of 3 vehicles behind you, knowing that the track conditions were incredibly hot and that you had to really work to make sure that you weren't going to understeer through any of these really tough corners?
Yeah, definitely. I think the top 6 cars or so had quite a similar pace, so qualifying was super important, and also a little bit of tire management and primarily not making mistakes during the race. It's a long and exhausting race here.
And of course, you're unbeaten so far in 2018. You're heading over to Barber with what is a good challenge now for the championship here. Moreira's being pegged back at every which way that you look. So for you yourself, do you feel that you are putting yourself now in the position to try and win championship 14?
Well, I don't know. I think Nuno is currently a little bit faster pace-wise. He's also leading in the championship, so it will be really tough. But yeah, let's see. I'll give my best. I'm not sure if I'm going to be available for Barber, as I'd like to take the challenge of doing the Daytona 24 with a couple of other guys of the series, including Nuno, so I'm not sure if I will do Barber as well. It's not my favorite track.
Well, it will all depend on how the splits sort of work, and it will also depend on where you stand in that. But before we let you go, Nuno, not even Nuno, here we go. I'm just jumping the gun here. Gernot. Gernot, shout out to sponsors.
No sponsors, really. I just want to thank everyone running the series. It's a great season so far, so yeah, let's keep on doing well. Bye-bye.
Well, no worries there. Gernot Friche doing a very good job. And before I sob myself to sleep this evening, Sean, you're going to have Nuno Moreira.
Nuno, not Gernot. Yes, I'm with Nuno Moreira, the second place finisher today. Another podium finish for Nuno. Nuno, congratulations. But boy, a win would have been nice, wouldn't it?
Hey, hello everyone. Good afternoon to you too. Of course, a win would have been nice, but here you really need to qualify impeccably. And I did a good first lap in qualifying, a very good one indeed. But the second one, when I should be 1/10 or 2/10 faster, I made a mistake trying to go faster. So, and then when I saw myself in P2, I said, not bad, because, well, missing the second lap is always a big minus. But then Gernot just did a very competent and fast race. He didn't he didn't do any kind of mistake. We were close 1 or 2 times, but it was better to to safeguard one of the times, I had to really push the brake so that we avoid a little bit of contact and probably have a negative impact in our races. So I'm happy that we got to the end intact, and congratulations to the winner, which is a fully deserving one. And well, great challenge from Gernot at this point.
Yeah, I had talked to Juha before the race, and he had told me that the qualifying was really, really going to be key here today. And I'm sure the very, very hot track temperature didn't really help your effort today at all either, did it?
Well, we are all ready to or prepared to deal with high temperatures or low temperatures, which is also tricky in the Lotus. So yeah, but 42 Celsius is something that we need to deal more in terms of tire management and not letting the fronts slip. But it's the same here at Sonoma. It's really difficult to overtake or to prepare a serious overtaking pass without the guy in front making mistakes. And we know that, hey, it's the Lotus 79, and the top 10 guys don't do a lot of mistakes. So I'm just happy for the P2, and I'm sure that it was good points and keep the championship lead. And let's see how it ends.
Nuno, you going to be running the 24 next weekend?
I'm negotiating with the family.
Negotiating with the family. Okay, I got you. It definitely is a sacrifice, that's for sure.
Not for me, of course, but for the kids and the wife that want to share some time with me, of course. But I will try to, and it will be a pleasure to join forces with the fast guys here instead of battling. So it will be fun. I will try to be there. And as Gernot said, I heard that part of the interview. I don't know if we will be able to do barber or something, but well, let's see.
All right. Well, hey, listen, thank you for stopping by and talking with us. Anybody you'd like to thank today?
Hey, just you guys and all the drivers that came racing with us. Awesome result, awesome appearance in terms of numbers. I think we split again. So, hey, I think it's the series that we need to congratulate, and you guys for the awesome effort. Thank you very much. Have a great Sunday. See you next week.
All right, Nuno, we will see you next week. And Jake, always good to talk to him. We get a chance to do it quite a bit because, well, guess what? He's always near the top. And my best to all those guys who decide to run the 24 next weekend. Really good race here at Sonoma today, though.
It always is. And, well, you talked to the man before the race, so you know what? I'm going to be nice. You can talk to the man after the race as well. The preacher, Juha Noralampi.
He made it. Okay, I was beginning to wonder if he's going to make it or not. Juha, congratulations on a podium finish for you today, making your return to the broadcast. How you feeling?
Thanks, Sean. I'm feeling a little tired now, but otherwise I'm very pleased that I take a part this race now for the long time.
Yeah, well, when we talked before the race, you had said qualifying was going to be the key because the passing was just going to be so difficult. You got a great jump on the start, and then you made a move on Kyle Ruokola to take that third place spot. And talk to us a little bit about that. How'd that all develop?
Yeah, I messed up my qualifying both laps, and it was very bad because I was only fifth. I know that I had to pace here at this track because I was fast last time we were here, and earlier race I was 2/10 faster at the qualifying. Even I didn't manage to run the second lap, and that would have given me a 4/10 or 5.5 second more, and I'm sure that I would be at the pole, but you had to make it clean, and that's no excuse. But well, my start was good, and then I just tried to follow guys. There was Gernot and Nuno and Kalle in front of me, and they were all in similar pace, and this track you can't overtake here because it's such a bad track for overtaking. But well, I got very close at lap 10 or 11. I don't know what was that, but Kalle made a little mistake when going out of the hairpin at the first straight, and then I managed to have a good draft there, and I took the left side. I think that Kalle would go to defend at the other side, but he didn't, and he just saw me very late that I was very close to him, and he I think he take a little right then, and then his car slipped a little bit, and that caused me to hit his rear, and we damaged our cars a little bit, both of us, and then the rest was just cruising, and I'm very happy that I was fastest guy, even that I couldn't make 100% laps because I'm still at this virus the flu, which has lost now 9 weeks over. Well, this is my situation now.
Well, Juha, it's always fun watching you get around these tracks. This is a tough one today. Next week's going to be another tough one at Barber. You're going to try and join us then?
It depends on how I feel because every time I have exercised a little bit during these 9 weeks, this flu has got worse, and I don't know how it's going to be next week. But if I'm okay, then I might come and tease these top guys.
All right. Well, Juha, thanks again. Thanks for a little chat there before the race, and our best to you and your improving health. And hopefully we'll get to see you next week, buddy.
Yeah, thank. Always pleasure to talk with you, Sean, and you're my buddy. See you.
All right. That's Juha Noralampi. And did you hear that, boys? I'm buddies with the preacher.
You're buddies. Well,
yeah, we're buddies.
I hope you enjoy being buddies, but unfortunately, when we enjoy things, sometimes enjoyment does have to come to an end. And unfortunately, that's all we're going to have time for here now in the early afternoon. So we must offer our thanks to all of you who have been watching the action here this afternoon, and to all the drivers and teams of the Classic Teams Championship for their stunning battles and their decision to fly GSRC. Thank yous also have to go out to the companies, equipment and software that have been involved or affiliated with this afternoon's broadcast. And as well, we would like to thank Eric Ekholm and Casey Lalonde for the music that you have heard this afternoon. Details on how to contact them are on screen right now. And speaking of contacts, if you are let's get some words out. If you are wishing to have your series broadcast, or you just want to find out when the next dose of sim racing action or otherwise is live, pop over to globalsimracingchannel.com or check us up on social media with the Twitter handle @GSR Channel, or catch us on Facebook as the Global Sim Racing Channel. It won't be Skip Barber's in this series, but it is a trip to Barber Motorsports Park, as the halfway stage will look to conclude as things go to round 6. But as always, that has been Sean Ambrose, that has been Amjad Yamin, and that has also been the man who some say he changes his camera lens during a race as many times as Sonoma has changed its name. That is Dougie Beard. I have been #DoYouMindJake Sperry, and while the championship closes in thanks to Prix, but Moreira is keeping it level at every step of the way. Remember, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.